Egyptian journalists increasingly are concerned about the jailing of their colleagues, many of whom are being held without trial. Angie Omar has the details from Cairo.
Carrying banners reading "No to jailing and torturing journalists," protesters recently gathered at the Egyptian Journalists Syndicate office to demand the release of 23 imprisoned colleagues. They include freelance journalist Khalid Mamdouh and satirical cartoonist Ashraf Omar, who were detained and accused of being involved in a terrorist group, disseminating false news and misusing social media tools. Ashraf Omar's wife, Nada Mughith, alleges he has been physically abused. She says he was abducted from their home by a very large number of security forces, no less than 10, who were in 2 vehicles. She says they abducted and blindfolded him and took his personal belongings, including his mobile phone and laptop. A source in the Journalists Syndicate, who did not give his name for safety reasons, said the syndicate has been negotiating with the Prosecutor General's office for the release of the journalists, especially those held in pre-trial detention. The head of the Journalists Syndicate, Khalid al-Balshi, said the Egyptian authorities have rejected at least 10 requests by the union to visit the jailed journalists.
بدأوا يشعرونا بقلق شديد لأن احنا أملنا اللي كنا بنحاول
Al-Balshi says the authorities have started to make the journalists feel deeply concerned because they no longer feel the hope they once did about getting their colleagues freed quickly. Therefore, they must call for freedom for all detainees in opinion cases in this country and a comprehensive pardon for them. He says if the state desires real reform, real dialogue and everything, there must be decisions than the current review process. Egypt has been ranked among the world's worst jailers of journalists, tied with Turkey and Saudi Arabia. In 2023, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists, Egypt is ranked 170th out of 180s on the World Press Freedom Index. Justin Shilad is a Middle East and North Africa researcher for the Committee to Protect Journalists. He told VOA that repression of press freedom in Egypt is part of a broader pattern across the Middle East.
In Egypt, or what happens in one country in the region does not happen in a vacuum. It's a problem for the entire Middle East, North Africa region, and indeed the world. I think that with the authorities in this region, even those whom have significant conflicts with one another, they are very much reading from each other's playbooks in suppressing critical and independent media. And that's what's so disturbing about this case.
In a written statement, the Egyptian government defended its actions, saying it respects press freedom and the rights of journalists to practice their profession freely, as long as they abide by the law and do not engage in activities that threaten national security. The statement adds that the detained journalists are facing charges related to their involvement in terrorist activities and the dissemination of false information, which poses a threat to public order and safety. The government said the judicial process is being followed transparently and in accordance with the law. The protesters earlier this week vowed to continue their fight to free their colleagues and defend press freedom. This is Angie Omar, reporting for VOA from Cairo.